Hello everybody, thank you so much for joining me. Polina here, talking to you a little bit about the month of January and what to expect out of this seemingly awkward time, as it is for some people the beginning of the year and a certain kind of push towards their hopes and dreams. So the first thing I'd like to put a little bit of stress on is the fact that Capricorn is not the beginning of the year. It is not the vibrational start. You know, if we are looking at a start, it would be Aries, as it is traditionally the beginning for many different peoples in the world. Not all of them, of course, believe the year starts with March, but I definitely from my studies, have been confirming that every year that the true start and the true rebirth is on the equinox that occurs on the 21st of March, as Pisces is the last sign and Aries is the first. And if you are somebody who studies astrology, you would definitely already know this, as the cycle of astrology from Aries to Pisces is a lifetime, with Aries being the newborn and Pisces eventually being the end of life cycle. So let's talk a little bit about this time. So we are landing on Capricorn. Capricorn is considered the old man, or the older, wiser, more professional, more secure, and more associative person. It is the sign of the sage, the elder, and somebody who really knows his or her stuff. It is a shadow sign. It is a wonderful time to go within and to start things anew, only if you really need to change or to renew your previous objectives and your previous purpose. So what I'm here doing is I'm keeping it down. So I'm recording this on the 26th of December. And yes, I try to keep to myself and keep it down all through December, because it really hurts us energetically if we are involved in too many things at once, and this medley of different people's lives and projections and having to talk and share and push energy outwards isn't that susceptible for greater growth later in time. Also, if you are right now in a country that is experiencing a very severe winter, winter is naturally a time of death. It is seen as a time of the wise. It is when the sun is at its lowest, and it is also culturally, many different places in the world see this the same. Culturally seen as a kind of state of underground development, as the earth is still planning her future, as she is still going through her own process, and not everything's on the outside. So the inner voice, the inner choice, and yes, the shaman. And talked a little bit about Yule and the winter solstice occurring on the 21st, 22nd of December there. And it is a time of the old wise king, you know, and it does talk about death. You know, in some cultures they do talk about, you know, the end of life. And yes, in certain other cultures, it's a beautiful time to practice shamanism. Also in ancient Slavic religions, this still exists even in as part of the church in parts of the Slavic world. There are certain special rituals that occur in this time that are shamanic, and that carry within themselves a part of the pagan world that wasn't eradicated by the church. So there are Sviatki on the 6th of January, and yes, some people in the Orthodox Church, they celebrate Christmas at the beginning of January, around the 7th, I believe, of January. So all of that time is traditionally dedicated to witchcraft. So people would sit alone, they would look in the mirror, you know, they would perform different types of rituals. There's different types of rituals with grains of coffee or tea. There's different types of ancient, very wise philosophies ingrained into future telling, because the veil is considered to be very fine between the world of the living and the world of the deceased. So whether you like it or not, whether you practice this or not, it's a very bad time to consider the rebirth or the renovation of true, natural, simple human life. Because basically, for me, as I'm sure for many other esoteric philosophers out there, it's very, very obviously a time of sadness and passings. And in many cultures also, Capricorn is considered to be the horned one. And in some ancient cultures, it wasn't considered to be the devil or Satan or anything like that, but it was considered to be an energy that comes from the other side. And it is the mystery of life, the mystery of creation, the mystery of magic. And also, in a sense, shamanism, as there are different types of shamanic cultures in the world that still wear horns on their heads. So we don't have to go too far into that, but also like Perun, you know, the ancient Slavic deity, sometimes celebrated with horns attached to heads and things. And I'm not saying maybe anything else here, but in terms of understanding the Christian church and their beliefs and their connection or association with one with horns. But also, yeah, of course, we can say Aries has horns, Taurus has horns as well, you know. So, but there is something different about the goat. And yes, there is that ancient image of the Baphomet and everything like that. So, what that means to you is your choice. How I usually like to look at Capricorn season is things go down to a minimum sometimes because other things need to grow to a maximum. Certain things might be shunned or shallowed in order to deepen and involve in other things. And sometimes what is outside and what is inside are completely different in balance to what we believe or perceive. It's a very soft and kind time. I feel there is a very, very gentle softness inside quite a lot of people. Awakening is also the opposite sign, where the earth is at the moment is Cancer. So Cancer softens things. So Earth is going through Cancer and the Sun is going through Capricorn. So there is a kind of a deliciousness inside of all of this, and a nurture, and kind of like a truth that is just so deep and powerful and celestial. And at the same time, yes, Saturn rules Capricorn, and Saturn suggests structure, correctness, practice, makes perfect, and everything like that. A lot of things that our modern society is based on. And yes, there are many Saturnian cults at the root system of society, including a lot of the mainstream religious groups, not just one. And if you look at the symbol, the ring of Saturn, and if you research a little bit about Judaic tradition and Islamic tradition and parts of Roman Church before it was, you know, Catholic Church, you know, the Roman rule and the Roman sense of wisdom and where that comes from. There are ways of seeing this. There's so many ways of arguing this, and I'm sure you probably can argue it out with me if you want in the captions below if you want. But I feel that the very, very in the comments below, sorry. The very, very nice and wise thing to basically consider is that we have to be, in a way, shy or sensitive and try to feel and define. Capricorn is a very wise teacher. It's not just about your job, it's not just about your culture or strengthening your community or being somebody of power or being secure for other people, so having a career or having like a way in the world. It's not just about this, and it probably will never be. The best way to really understand it, if you really want to look at life outside of these cultural groups formed by certain religious and, I suppose, ravenous empires, like if we're going outside of imperialism, if we're going outside of the Roman rule, Roman Empire fell a long time ago, but it still continues, you know. So we don't want to go here into colonialism. Almost like seriously, like half the world is colonized. It's really crazy. It's really, really crazy. So if we're going to go beyond that into freedom and just actually being here and being soft and kind and taking time and caring and learning and teaching and being wise, that's where I feel Capricorn lands for me. So when I'm looking at ancient pagan cultures and also certain bohemian cultures, if I'm looking at the horned one as a wild man who loves to play the flute, and he is in balance between his animal and his divine selves. That is where I'm kind of placing it now. So some believe that, for example, temperance, the card for Sagittarius in in tarot, is associated with the balance between the animal and the human. And yes, I do definitely agree that is so. But to me, Capricorn is the more crazier, evolved, psychedelic, silent, mysterious, and multifaceted version that sometimes cannot be fully explained. And certain people with Capricorn risings or Capricorn moons, they don't have a lot of feelings where other people have them, but they have them elsewhere. So, like, how you place yourself externally and what is inside is different. It is a feminine sign, it is a dark sign. So, in a sense, you can see how that works. Sometimes one is a mystery to even oneself and the other. So, a lot of shamanic practices and lonely, solitary paths and solid planning ahead. And also, if you want to see it as a career thing, sure, like bosses, work givers, people that gotten really far in their career, are sometimes isolated as lonely at the top. Even if you look at the pyramid, if you still like to play with that idea, if you like the pyramid on the banknotes and such, the pyramid, the Illuminati symbol, at the top, it's lonely at the top. So if you want to be the master, the king, or the person that gives people jobs or gives people things to do, as you are beyond, far beyond a certain layer of society. I know this is a really, really harsh topic, and I will not touch on it on the astrology channel, maybe another channel, another time. It's very, very hard to drive it unless you are in a certain type of portal. So quite a lot of people that are lonely and sensitive quite often have a certain mastery or mystery to them. And it's not always great, but they've gotten to a certain type of filtered state where they can't maybe afford to be around other people. And sometimes these people are protected and they have their own offices and they have their own segregated environments. And if we're looking at the class system and how it evolved, not always, but sometimes it is with these sensitivities in mind, and consciousness evolves or it mutates and it goes into these separatist portals. So that is where the shaman can sometimes go. And in a sense, like in a naturalist sense, in a natural sense, quite a lot of people that reach old age naturally, neutrally sense what life is about, and they give a lot of hope and care to others, but they also have to be alone. So the lonely energy, the lonely self-serving or self-connecting and identifying person, the one that dreams their own dream and the one that understands the world for what it is and really cares for the world, is often seen, as that. It's even beyond sage. It's like master, which is where Capricorn is. And a lot of these designs and these conclusions and these upgrades that Capricorn can achieve is through a silent, mysterious inner world. It is not a good time to jump up and down. It is not a great time to celebrate anything, to push or pull or make change. So what I could be doing now with sleeping, it's true, it's interesting, we're not that far from Pisces. Pisces is when you just go to sleep and you allow yourself to relax and no longer preoccupy yourself with that which you have gathered over time. Well, I just want to tell you, there is a huge eagle that just flew over here and landed on a branch. Nature's been really wild. I will tell you a little bit about that at the end of the video, about the wilderness of nature. It's really overwhelming sometimes. I live in nature, so sometimes things like that happen. Interesting timing. The concept basically that I'm trying to help you understand is just like how it works. Also, we are slowing our step. We're coming out of tiger year, we're going into rabbit year. So we are always going to slow our step in December, January. It's always going to be a nice little tapering. Is going to be that only the best ideas make it through. Only the most normal and safe people make it to our homes usually at this time, or only the closest friends stay. It's a nice idea to see it as if you are washing gold, like you go to the river, and you wash the gold. This is like at the basis, at the crux of a lot of cultures, in the Americas and in America and Australia, like washing the nuggets of gold, looking for the golden ore. If you see, only the nuggets stay already at this time. So when you are looking at this mature time, only the best book will be published. Okay, only the best words will be spoken. Only the real, true grains of wisdom will be given. There are now 2 eagles, just letting you know, or whoever they are, giant birds, outside my window, just letting you know. So basically, the worst case scenario that sometimes happens is we get scattered and we get put in our place by other people. What for? To avoid the crowd. What for? Not to mix with people. What for? Not to buy little trinkets. What for? Not to go on holiday now. Frivolous things. We fill our belly with frivolous things. We fill our minds with frivolous things. And then only the frivolous kind of stays, and sometimes the real worth washes away, and we lose ourselves as a species when we get older, or as cultures, these cultures that follow, certain religious routes and practical routes, they wash themselves away in older years, and they lose their identity, and they don't know, or they don't want to live past a certain age, or they feel that not everybody, not all of us are like that, but a lot of people feel very grim older in years, because we don't know how to surface those golden nuggets. We just keep on keeping on with other people, work and employment, being employed by other people, or having to employ other people, having to have service people, having to have providers, having to answer to a mother or father figure, having to be underneath a certain body, like underneath, cowering underneath a church or underneath a man. All of that is instilled and ingrained into kind of like half the populace of this planet each and every year. And we can't help but cower because the hearing and the senses really tingle during this time. So if you can imagine, like say Scorpio is one of the most psychic signs. Then the next feminine sign after Sagittarius, of course, is Capricorn. Okay, it's very hypersensitive, hyperpsychic actually. We don't think about it as being a very psychic sign, but why? Why not? It's just as practical, it's not practical, it's just knowing. It's knowing. And then we have this very amazing, of course, dilution of all space and time, which is Pisces. Pisces, of course, after Aquarius, is a very, very, very nice, simple wake-up call, and a very, very big surrender, and a psychic or psychological beginning from which we then eventually evolve the next vortex of our life, or the next step of our world as we start again in Aries. So basically what to do now is to come by things as they are, to let life naturally happen to you, to let nature speak to you, to allow things come up naturally and deal with them as they come up, to let yourself feel tired if you're tired, to let yourself feel vulnerable if you're vulnerable. We have a very scary February this year. February will have Saturn illumination, and it will have a Plutonic kick at the start. Pluto will kick very hard. So we also are going to go through Chariklo with the sun and stuff. So we're going to have quite a hardcore Aquarius. So as we start February, it's going to be just messy for a lot of people. There are going to be messes that need to be solved. If you are feeling sick, tired, old, aged, depressed, disappointed with your life, or questioning your worth in Capricorn, that is actually needed, and you don't owe anybody a smile. So the worst case scenario is we sometimes get scattered between different things. It's like, oh, I owe my kids like a trip to Disneyland, or I owe my wife a vacation, or like I gotta think about what it all means, my New Year's resolutions, or I don't know how to start that again or this again. I don't know, like all of that I don't know is not that bad. We just have to stay out of harm's way. Capricorn is also a very fragile time. Sometimes what is said out loud you will never be able to wash out. It can be set in stone sometimes, where you appear. That's why I get out of all social activity during this time. Where you appear cannot be disappeared. Sometimes if you like go out drinking or partying, that might stay as a biological imprint. We don't think about Capricorn as being a sensitive sign. We think about it being the father sign, like the builder, like the guy that makes the magic happen, the person that makes the stuff. It's also a very sensitive sign, and it's a very sensitized energy. So a lot of it is very scarring. And yes, it looks like he's not listening. It looks like he doesn't care, but inside him is eternity. It is forever. Inside is something forever. And the need for a lot of Capricorn people energetically is to create something worthy and something they can smile about in older years, which is actually very wise. So, do you really want this for all time? I don't think so. So, let's look at the brighter side. When we are in Capricorn specifically, we can prepare and we can make amends. Also, considering we're going to Rabbit year, obviously, it is a very good time to pack ourselves up, pack our bags, see the different tools we actually really need for life. See that grumpiness or that sadness, especially if you have a lot of snow where you are, it's very cold, as part of natural human life. Not seeing a grumpy person or a sad person or a sick person as just somebody who needs to get pushed out of the group or told what to do. We have to stop vulnerabilizing the old and the people that are not yet together or can't be together. Also, we have to start to see that this need to always achieve and be stronger than everybody else. We can't. Sometimes you need to sleep. Sometimes you need to relax. You have to come down. You have to let go. You have to understand that you will not be 23 for the rest of your life. You cannot drink forever. You cannot party forever. And yes, Capricorn has a whimsical side, and he sometimes likes to cause mischief, or he likes to cause even harm, as a kind of kindly reminder of fate. It's a very curious thing. It's actually interestingly kind. What sometimes can happen to us or with us, it's like a tap on the shoulder and gentle reminder of our own mortality, for example. It could be a very interesting, wise word that somebody says with a snicker, and it's not evil, it's not in the realm of harm, but sometimes people don't understand it and it gets reinterpreted and misinterpreted. And a lot of these happenings that are happening underground, deeply underground in a month like this, are not heard or seen, and people don't like the person that can speak many secret words, or they don't sometimes feel comfortable with the person that can whisper the voice of nature, or that can understand the different vibrations of the world. People don't care for those people, and sometimes they're not involved in other people's collectives until something goes wrong. So, like that feeling of being safe and that feeling of being guided, by your own natural force, sometimes is also not seen or loved because it is just so ugly and strange, like that old man within, or that old woman that goes, I knew that would happen. We don't care about that. We don't want that. We are afraid, and we culturally are afraid of aging and being of age. And some people are really fearful of a person who's embraced every single part of their natural self. So they're not parading themselves as an endless child because, presents and Christmas trees and other things, it doesn't matter. Like the holidays, all of this, it's all just like dun 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 dun. I'm never gonna change. I'm never gonna change. I'm gonna be fun and young and free forever. I will never ever ever change. And then as kind of the time is short, Saturn eats his own children, also the demise of the young, the demise of youth. What is there as an energy? So we are facing Saturn also in February. May as well prepare. So this is a couple of months of this stuff. When we are very immature as people and we don't want to face consequences, we can't believe that, for example, if I eat a lot of sugar, I'll get sick. We don't know. Like, say, if I don't sleep, I will have a lot of uncomfortable emotions. If I um, have this happen by a certain age or don't have this happen by a certain age, it's just like see the outcomes. It's just like that. It's practice makes perfect. Sometimes about living many lives and understanding culture, but we don't think that way. So that's the worry that I'm having for quite a lot of people, young and not so young, that haven't really yet come to terms with just how nature works, how your body works, how night and day work, how the different beings, in your life work, like different beings inside of yourself, the different faces of who you are. It's like really like high quantum, like super, super psychology that people can tap into during these days, but nobody likes that. So also Saturn is like drab and derelict, and even in Vedic philosophy, Saturn is not seen as the most powerful or beautiful guide. It's more like Jupiter, 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 but Saturn, Saturn, Saturn has quite a lot to teach as well. So if you want to know about structure and age and time, and whether or not you've done well, whether or not you have made correct like steps in your life or good promises, that's when you need to have a friend maybe with a lot of Capricorn or a lot of Saturn, because Saturnian people are not necessarily evil, scary, or decrepit or diseased, as usually, like I've said in my first house, Saturn is seen as kind of an evil force or a distorting force. It's about understanding what nature is. And yes, it is true. Saturn and Capricorn energy does require silence to work. It requires stillness, it requires compassion, it requires softness and consciousness, it requires a heating ear, it requires a sensitive moment. It isn't about pulling or pushing or gushing or being emotional or trying or thrusting or trusting. You don't have to trust. It's not about, oh, I trust, like I trust the government, or I trust this guy here, or I trust this or that. It can't be just trust and rule and religion and I say so, and here is a stamp in the paper, and because I got this side, it is real. It is nonsense, it's all nonsense in comparison to the truths of life. So if you want to be also beyond the current world, and if you want to work yourself out beyond the practical and the physical and the tangible, and also if you want to be out of the city or out of the grid or out of these different philosophies that are calling you down, it is very nice to look at Saturn as something, or Saturn Capricorn time this time, as something whimsical and something true and cherished. It's like Pan, the god, Pan. It is very true and truthful and cherished and caring. It just doesn't speak all that it knows. And it's not necessarily about evil, the evil energy of hiding things behind closed doors or not telling the full truth. It's not like that. It's just understanding life in such a huge way where everything's already fulfilled and no desire can live. And that's really scary for some people. So, people sometimes say, wow, it's a grandmaster that can no longer desire. It is in the silence and the innocent challenge. It's like a challenge of creating worlds within one's own psyche or physical body. It's like a mastery beyond just the physical here and now. It's a very gentle and very innocent way of life that is required from like a true shaman or a true healer or a true master that sometimes surfaces during months like these, and it takes a long time to really get to see it. It's like when you really, really feel and you really understand and you can recognize things, not because of anything else. It's just you know that you are honest and conscious. It's all of this list. You don't have to be like filling out the questionnaire of who you are here, if you did good or whatever. It's not about that. It's like, you know, you so good, you don't even know how, but every single thing happens to an exact quantic vibrational state that you yourself have programmed it to. So it's not like, okay, in Capricorn, I'm going to get bossy and I'm going to be the big daddy over another person. I'm going to program them and prod them and make them do something or test their skill. Like, that's not the top of Capricorn. That's not what this time is about at all, actually. It's about, it's like I'm dreaming, I'm feeling, and I'm kind of almost half smelling, half sensing. It's like a hyper intuitive frequency. And then other things contribute to you. So in a way, you start to be the speaker and the answerer. And in some cultures, that is considered to be like a mage, like a magician. In some cultures, it is considered to be a shaman. In some cultures, it is a sage. Sage is more like Sagittarius. It's more than that. It's like a certain speaker of worlds, you know. And then after that, you see, you have a completely different concept. So Aquarian energy is going to rush past us, brush past us, push us, twinkle us around, twiddle our thumbs, you know, do things, ruffle our hair, do things, gonna do many things, and not everything is gonna be that great, you know. So it doesn't really need it today. So the Aquarian energy, because it's been very, very energetically calcified, I would even say, with Pluto being on one end and Saturn being on the other. It's like almost like too good to be true, where sometimes an Aquarius wants to be, or how high and how vast their vision of light or their vision of thought is. But there is not really an important moment where one can be free without retaining frequency and without molding into a completely different type of journey. So it's almost like there's like this free feeling that Aquarius usually has, and that it's kind of getting like drowned or emotionally polluted by this other type of feeling. So it's almost like a certain type of energetic paralysis in some people's timelines. I'm seeing by the end of January, in other people's timelines, I'm seeing that there is not enough of a twinkling to really make some dreams come true. And yet we have to deserve and we have to deliver, and some people have to walk out there and display and shine their bright light and be that bright person. And not the best probably time to create life. It's not, to me, this Aquarius season, truly not the best time to make presents. And even if like Aquarius has a very big gift in your chart, like for example, you have an Aquarius sun, or you have your Saturn like at a completely at a square, like it doesn't really affect Aquarius. Even if you have like some very, very nice elements, like you got Juno in there, or you have like Jupiter, Sun conjunction, or a bit of Venus there, even if you have some really beautiful bright energies in your natal chart where there is Aquarius, you might not want to do all of those shiny and frilly things. You might want to take a step back. And also, yes, we have a rabbit year, and we have some events during this year 2023 that might have to put us back. It's a contracting year, 2023. If you like, have a look at the other video series on 2023. So it makes us mean more if we can just tell our story a little wiser and be careful and be kind. And although everybody probably manifested or said or yelled or screamed or cried as much as they could in Tiger Year, everything kind of can't move past Aquarius this time around. So when I'm looking at you guys, you know, like struggling to speak or not knowing what to say, like what is going on, like how we're going to say launch our projects, how we're going to make that money, or what are we going to do with our loved ones, all of that, take a step back. So already prepare yourself in January. In January, understand that February is not going to be like, Aquarian time. It's not going to be like, I'm going to wear a bikini at the beach type of time. It's not going to be, I'm going to be a healthy, wealthy, beautiful, state-of-the-art self that I've always wanted to be time. It's not going to be any of that. There's going to be a nurture needed for quite a lot of people. So that means, hospitals for some. If you are having any kind of disease surface during January, December, please go see somebody today while there's time. Also, if the hospitals are free and open, or there's like friends that can help you, it's a very good time to solve your problems in January. Solve many. And then come Aquarius, come end of January, come February, you won't have a lot of time to spend there. You will have to maybe make other things happen. And there is a way that mistakes, I'm seeing mistakes, trouble, strange behavior, strangers coming into your space, or just weirdness happening in Aquarius this time. It's not a sparkly, brand spanking new Feb or Jan to Feb that I'm seeing for a lot of people this year around. So it wasn't probably meant to be what you were a part of. If it is crashing, if it has failed, maybe you were not so good at your job, or maybe you have to now understand there are broken parts to you or your world or your work. Now this is going to be very obvious in February. In February, don't wait too long. So we're looking at a very distort Pisces. What's happening? Why did this happen? So let's try and troubleshoot now. If you like, I will take you through this. Okay, so we are at 36 minutes. If you're not interested, you can stop the video here. But I will tell you, okay, how to troubleshoot now using Capricorn. So in Aquarius, I'm seeing quite a lot of people going, what the hell? How did this? Why did I miss it? What did I miss? We cannot afford it. So like this can start with your body. Karma works like this. It starts on mental, emotional planes. Then it goes into different types of bodies. You know, all the different causal. You know, different bodies. When it is reflected in enough energy centers and it is mirrored with enough people. And also, if you offended energies, or if you have been breaking certain laws or taboos, you might start to manifest those energies inside of your body. So to have an ailment, you're like a disease, it doesn't just happen like that. You don't just get sick. Okay, diseases manifest on many different planes. If you now have any symptoms now, like really careful with this. Also, I should be also careful with this. Any symptom usually in Capricorn is a good idea to fix and to see clearly. Okay, a toothache, you know, falling hair, brittle nails, okay, sore feet, ovarian issues, you know, breath issues with breath, respiration, any inflammation, any infection, anything, any acne, any sudden rashes, anything that manifests. We should now be very good at that as a people. As a people, we should really now know, okay, I have a symptom, I should know more about it. We have Google, at least. So at least having a look at also, sure, what I've done, I got a plant channel. If you're interested, have a look. Plant medicine channel. You don't have to do that either. Just like how to get by and how to slowly patch it up. A lot of Aquarius is neutralized by Capricorn. If you can patch it up in Capricorn, Aquarius is not going to ask you that many questions. But it's like a big thing in Aquarius that you could have done something very small for in Capricorn. It's like in Capricorn you could have just drunk some tea and saw maybe like a couple of therapists, okay? And then there's like a ball of snow, like a snowball, is gonna snowball in Aquarius. And then it's gonna hit an end. So around the last few degrees of Aquarius is gonna hit an end. It's gonna, okay. It's just a very, very big feeling that I'm getting that some people are going to have to get real very quick in Aquarius. And it's going to be quite sharp for some. It is not good to have sharp things happen during this time. Aquarius is the global pineal gland. You know, if you have a sudden evolution that is happening too quickly, or a sudden urgency or an emergency in Aquarius, sometimes it programs you for the rest of your life. So a fear or like a fright that you might get in those times of Aquarius, also as we're heading towards Saturn in Aquarius in the last few degrees, there's going to be a very big punch from that. It's going to be a kickback from that. We don't want a fear manifesting over and over again. So it's important to take advantage now. Try to work things out. For this, you need some quiet. For this, you need some silence. In this time, and Capricorn, not many people know this, but actually a lot of things get solved just by you recognizing them. It's like, for example, I have broken this, or like I have made a bad choice, or like I have said something mean, or like I've been afraid, or like, wow, this world is big. Wow, I have a gift. Wow, I did something great. Or wow, I'm evolving. Or I've evolved out of my illusions. I've evolved out of other people's thinking patterns. Wow, I enjoy being alone. I enjoy to love who I am. I'm loving of that which I am. So like all of these kind of certainties that they're a bit goofy, yeah, I know, but like some of these certainties that Capricorn energy can provide you could save you many, many years of hurt and harm, probably every single year. But unfortunately, here we are seeking prizes. We want to impress somebody. We want to have sexual or emotional changes. People are looking for each other. New Year, you know, the 1st of Jan starts with a bang. Nobody knows what the hell to do afterwards. There is a lot of noise, and there are lots of parties, and there's not usually any responsibility taken over anything. And then we wonder why our children turn out this way, what happened. It's like they have no concept of regaining justice through isolation and reassociation. So this is like rehab for some people, and in other people's lives it's just basically adjustment. Look at this amazing business. Now if I make it a little bit softer, if I tune it up a little bit here, if I grow another business next to it, and maybe another little one next to it, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. I can afford more now. I can afford more. I can get greater results from this. I can get better payment from this. I can get more emotional stability out of this. Emotional stability, sometimes is what Capricorn is looking for inside. I want to grow it to a greater standard. I want it to be even greater. It's very nice. It's soft. It's softening. It's very, very good. And then yes, eventually for Chinese year comes to an end, and then we have the year of the rabbit officially. Now that's going to be something that you decide how to do. I'll just tell you a little bit more. It's already here. It's been here since about the end of October for real. A shortening, softening, neatening. It's like we want it neat, we want it soft, we want it kind, we want it good. We want to ensure perfect results. We want to make sure that it is caring. We want to make sure everybody's safe. Very, very much. We want to make sure everybody is together. We want to make sure we have enough food in our house stored. Rabbit. We want to make that we've got to make sure we've got enough friends on board. We've got to make sure we've got everybody's numbers. We want to make sure we know everybody face to face. Okay, we want to make sure that we have everybody's best intentions at heart, and we have our own best intentions at heart, that we are nice, safe, and caring. That's like the whole 23. That's like the whole year. So if we don't do that, it's going to cost us already, and it's going to start to cost anybody if they're overdoing it, if they're overproducing, if they're being rude, angry, or scary, and if they're doing many things that they shouldn't be. So that's already going on. So thank you so much. Have a look at my Patreon. On the Patreon, I have a audio for every single sign already uploaded. And I have day by day predictions, and I also have special features that are extracts from my 2023 book. And yes, you can have a look at the 2023 Year of the Water Rabbit book if you want to know everything like 5 steps ahead. And also, yes, I have been seeing a lot of animals. That's something I wanted to say. I recorded the video, the audios for January yesterday, and there's been all of these amazing totem animals showing up during the recording. So we had a giant swooping flock of big birds come to our house. That eagle just left, by the way. Interesting. We had a tarantula visit our bathroom, external bathroom. We had a squirrel visit that bathroom as well. I've never seen a squirrel in Peru before. There was a flock of toucans playing very actively, which is very rare to see, very awesome. And then at night, the possum that visits our house caught a gecko in the kitchen and ate it in front of us, like demonstratively. That was interesting. And just now, just today, I'm seeing there's these. I'm not sure if they're eagles. Could be something like that. Never seen these birds up close, but they came to this tree close to the house. So that is also maybe something that you can see through, or you can define if you're somebody who knows a lot about animals. And yeah, I'll say it also. Aries to Taurus, there was a flock of birds. During Gemini, there was a tarantula. During Scorpio, there was a squirrel. During Sagittarius, there was a flock of toucans. So that's something that I wanted to share with you. And thank you very much for joining me. And please feel free to any media in the caption section below. And I'll see you next time. Bye.